so DOT does a ton of fundraising for charitable organizations. So we were being asked a lot to give money. Give money or give food or
personally,
give clothing.
not
Yes.
as a department. Okay.
Yeah, but no, it would be a DOT fundraiser.
Sure.
But individuals, we would be contributing.
Open your pocketbook, whether it be by buying a food thing or
okay, gotcha.
Or giving cash.
And Kari and I started talking about, wouldn't it be great to be able to give back to our communities, but not have to reach into our pocketbook, because that's not always an option for everybody.
It's not.
And so Feeding South Dakota,
that's how this even the whole conversation got started.
It was an opportunity to do something for our community that didn't involve giving money or things, giving time instead. And for some people, that's what they have. They don't have those other things to donate, or they want to donate that too.
Welcome back to 50 Faces with Feeding South Dakota. We're happy to bring you another episode here in April for Volunteer Appreciation Month. Today we're in Pierre at our distribution center, actually right in our volunteer packing area, to talk with some volunteers who come quite regularly and have just a great story to share about group volunteering. So thank you, ladies, for joining us today. Why don't you start by telling us who you are, what you do here in Pierre? Don't jump at all of everybody jump at once.
I'll let you go first.
My name is Karla Engel. I work at the Department of Transportation as an attorney. I've worked there for 20 years.
Oh gosh, I better mind my P's and Q's. I didn't know we were booking an attorney today.
I bring my legal here.
Wow.
And I am Kari and Karla. I also work for the Department of Transportation, and I am the Cabinet Secretary's executive assistant.
So you have to bring legal with just to make sure that
I don't say something stupid.
Okay.
Given it's going to happen.
So Department of Transportation, like we're talking like licensing, Bureau of Licensing.
No.
Oh gosh, no.
Do you not? Okay, this is how it works. Department of Transportation, tires and below. So your bridges, your roads, your ditches, your all of that.
All right.
Department of Public
Airports
Safety
and railroads.
Airports and railroads, transit. Yes, it's not just highways. I'm in trouble for that one.
Recreational trails.
Yes. And so anything down.
What about boats, rivers, and
no.
Okay.
Nope.
No.
That'd be game.
We're not transporting on, not through your department.
Not through our department.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. So not licensing and not
nope,
water.
that's public safety.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think that was a good clarification for me. So thank you very much for that. And so your team has actually been volunteering with Feeding South Dakota here in Pierre for quite a while, which is why I invited you to join us for some conversation today. Can you tell me a little bit about how that got started?
So we were talking before this, and we decided I'm the dreamer and Kari's the doer. So I came up to Kari one day and I said, wouldn't it be great if DOT got together a group of volunteers and volunteered at Feeding South Dakota? Because I had been volunteering on my own.
Okay.
And I felt like it would be a great opportunity for us to give back to our community. And as part of our strategic plan, we try to make connections with our community, and we try to have good customer service. And part of that is knowing who you're serving. So I just walked up to Kari and with that idea, and then I walked away, and then Kari made it happen.
Okay. And how
do I make it happen? So one of the other things that was happening at the time is that our benefits program gave us credit for doing volunteering. So that's how
our benefits program.
It's that part to our program is no longer there, but that has not stopped us.
Okay.
So for every 12 hours, you got $50 in your HSA or whatever it was.
Oh, nice.
So that part is gone. However, we're still coming.
But at that time,
that was the seller.
Motivator.
Yeah. That was the seller. So when I went to the secretary and said, hey, can we do this? Look what we can do. He's a big advocate for getting to know people and getting in the community and being very customer forward. We put it together. So since March of 2022 is how long we've been coming. So it's 3 years.
Wow.
We came every month, and then we came twice a month, and then we went back to once a month with summers off, and now we're about every other month. But
so you dream about this.
Yep.
You get it going. What was the reaction of the team when you started throwing this out there?
We have about 40
Mm-hmm.
folks in the Pierre area. So we have our central office, which is the cabinet and more of the administrative folks. And then
Okay.
we also here in Pierre, we have a region office, which is our plow drivers, our guys that are out doing the work on the roads. And so when the email goes out, it goes out to both. And we have probably about a core of like about 40
Mhm.
people that will interchangeably
Yeah, because that's
come.
more people
Yep.
than we
Yep.
can accommodate on a shift.
Correct. We've gone and we started with 10 people, that we got up to 20, learned that was too many. And we've now settled at about 15 to come do this. And I'll just throw out an email and say, okay, we got a Feeding South Dakota event coming up. Who wants to sign up? And I've had wait lists. I mean, for them,
Wow.
like we fill it every time. And if we don't, I can say, hey guys, we're running a little short. Anybody got time or what?
Mhm.
And people are busy. They have a life. They're allowed to have
Sure,
that.
sure.
Carla, I believe, has been to almost every single one of them.
I try to come to almost everyone.
Yep.
Sometimes I've got a conflict, but
Yep. And I haven't come probably in the last 6 months or so. Mostly because I don't have to. I have 15 people that are excited to go. But otherwise we're here all the time or whatever. And people love coming. It's a
Mhm.
fun event. We have fun. We were trying to figure it out today. We were talking, and it's probably from the central office. We have probably like 85% of the people come from there.
Wow.
We have about 10% of the people that are going to come from our region office. And I'm sorry if I just plowed all day or,
Yeah, I'm
mowed
gonna-
grass,
I'll
did
come.
construction for 10 hours. The last place I want to go is go volunteer. I'd
Fair.
like to eat a pizza.
Fair.
And so, but the other fun part that we have is when we have visitors in town from other places
Mhm.
and they hear it's one of our Feeding South Dakota nights, they come. So we've had 2 or 3 people from a region, our Rapid City regional manager, engineer came one night, or somebody else who technically is central office, but is housed somewhere else. They're like, I'm in town. Can I come?
Can we come do this?
Absolutely. And we get everybody, people coming.
So, how long have you been living in Pierre or part of the Pierre community yourselves?
I first came to the Pierre area. It was right after I graduated from law school, so in 1994.
Okay.
And so I actually live in Blunt.
Okay. All right.
So I live in a suburb of Pierre. But
That's like
yeah.
me calling, Sioux Falls and Rapid City Metro. I like it. Blunt is a suburb of Pierre. I'm going with that. I'm going with that. And how about you, Kari?
I've only been here for about 6 years now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we had a conversation at the beginning of the podcast when we launched back in January. We talked with Scott Jones with Delta Dental, and we talked about how the distribution center here in Pierre came to be. That there was this, the mayor of town identified that there was a need for providing food for people who were hungry. And so they had conversation with Feeding South Dakota, and through community support and all the great things that happened, then we were able to open the distribution center.
Nice.
And begin serving the community directly with our mobile food distribution through our partners like PARS
Mhm.
that are doing some really great work here in town. And so I was just curious if you've seen, the trends or what things are like here in Pierre for people who are facing hunger.
Well, when I first started volunteering, it seemed like we had a lot of canned food that we
Mhm.
were supplying. And now I've noticed, at least with Feeding South Dakota, we're doing, like a lot of times we're coming and we're doing frozen food,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a really good thing for us to be able to offer.
Yeah.
And I've also noticed it seems like we're able to provide more in the way of meals. Like I can see, I'd get this box, I'd be able to make
Right.
these meals.
Spaghetti. Like I just have
Um,
to buy a pound of hamburger and I can make spaghetti or put a can
Yeah.
of chicken in it or something. Yeah.
But I think the need is huge.
Mhm.
A lot of the reason why we have come and stayed at DOT is because most of us know people that make use of Feeding
Mhm.
South Dakota or PARS.
Mhm.
There's a huge need. There's a lot of food insecurity. And if we're going to say we live in the greatest country in the world, nobody should be hungry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And for me, I think what's so beautiful about it is, and we've also had conversation with Corwin, is Pierre really epitomizes like community taking care of community.
Yes.
Mhm.
There's this identifying need. And so the community comes into Feeding South Dakota, they pack boxes. The mobile food distribution in Pierre once a month. I mean, the cars are lined up so far down the road, you
Yes.
can't see the end, right? But we never lack volunteers.
Correct.
People are showing up, whether it's freezing cold or hot as heck. they're coming out and they're loading up food. We never have to worry or wonder about it. And I think that's just so beautiful about this community. You're really in the middle of the state, literally the center part of the state,
nice little island.
unless you're a suburb.
Right.
Then you're a little
We're an
off.
island off the island in the midst of ranchers.
But I mean, there is, there's a couple grocery stores, there's a Walmart. So it's different than some of the small rural towns that don't have some of that access.
Yeah.
But it still really exists here in a big way.
I was very surprised when I moved here. I'm from Minneapolis, from an actual suburb of Minneapolis.
The real deal.
The real deal. No, I'm just kidding. How much people here really do. If anything happens in town, like it's minutes before there's a rally coming together to give people more than what they had before. They had a problem. From all avenues, from food hunger to if there's a fire, if there's a storm, if there's a whatever, like people really do back each other here on big levels. And that it took some getting used to. It's
that Midwest nice is a little hard.
Well, I'm from Minnesota. I mean, we're nice people over there, but it's just
a suburb. No, just kidding.
Right. That's true. I'll give you that one. But there's being kind, and then there's like truly having each other's back. But Pierre is an island. Pierre and Fort Pierre, like we're this little place in the middle of nowhere. So one, everybody.
Yeah.
And two, you take care,
Yeah.
You're going to know who it is that's having the struggle.
Right.
Or somebody's going to know somebody who knows the person that's having the struggle. So it is. You might as well do good. I mean, kindness is a beautiful thing.
Well, and I love that your department had this desire to give back to the community in the strategic plan. And then, your benefits, even though it doesn't still exist, really, motivated that and helped people get interested. And it's so great that people still come. So clearly there's a motivation within
and we get
themselves.
new people. So we always, I always sell it as it's a fellowship. Like you're going to go and you're just going to, like, the music's playing, the people I get told all the time to stop singing, and like, but you're just having fun. So it is what you make it.
Yeah.
And there are those that will apologize if, I'm so sorry, I can't make it this time. It's okay. You don't have to come every single time. But we get new people. We have the ruling is not so much kids. We adults is what we're aiming for. And our groups are private so that it stays just DOT people. So that one, you're getting to know other DOT people. So this is not done on our work time at all.
Yeah.
It is ask your boss so that make sure you can leave 15 minutes early if you work till 5 so that you can be there on time. And it's our time to still get to know each other. I think it's fun when I see a name come across as I'm signing them up. I have no idea who they are. And then I get to go there and go, well, I don't know who you are, so you must be so-and-so,
Yeah.
But we have a couple of wives that come or spouses that come or whatever that they want to do it together.
Sure.
And so that's fine. As long as you're an adult, I'm good for it.
Well, and the fellowship is a really good point because there were people that signed up that I didn't know, I didn't know very well. And so you're packing boxes and you're chatting.
Yeah.
And you get to know people. And so like there's a guy that comes and volunteers pretty regularly who builds his own airplanes.
You would have never known.
I had no idea.
Wow.
And he built one out of a Volkswagen, like a modified Volkswagen engine. And then that got me talking about my first car, which was a 1973 orange Volkswagen Bug.
Oh,
and
too bad you don't still have that. That'd be
know.
so cool.
I know. That's like my dream. And, somebody else who's been a lifeguard and talked about the lives that she saved. I mean, you just really learn a lot about your coworkers.
Yeah. And I would guess
it makes you closer.
There's people from every level in the department
Absolutely.
that come. And to me, it like levels the playing ground, right?
Yes.
Because you're all doing the same thing. And it makes it a little bit more comfortable to hang out with an attorney or the secretary or, because that
and
can
our
be
secretary
intimidating.
comes.
Yes, the head of our department. He is a regular volunteer.
And it's a joke for me especially when we first started. So many people that I work in the office with him, so I'm not afraid of him at all.
Right.
But other people don't even know who he is, or his wife would come.
Wouldn't
They had no
recognize-
idea, right?
yeah.
No idea who he is. And his favorite job is to pick up the boxes as, so, you're unloading and then you check a box. You unload, you check a box. So it
The
became
empty
like,
boxes.
The empty boxes.
Yeah,
But
empty.
it became a joke that I was like, you do know you throw in the boxes at the secretary. What?
And he's been hit a couple times,
Yeah.
but not hurt.
And so now it's like a joke that you're going to play like
He's like a
dodgeball.
moving target.
With your Uber boss.
But that is really, I mean, we have businesses that come in a lot of times on work time that will come in like to the Sioux Falls or the Rapid City Distribution Center. And it might just be their direct team, or it might be across the organization, just that open sign up where, I love it. They come in their matching shirts. And so where they're from, but they'll almost get like competitive, to see how much, especially if they have 2 shifts. What can the first shift beat the second shift? How many boxes? You're resonating.
No, we tried. We were going to do this, but it's hard to organize somebody else's group.
Yeah.
I can organize our group. So then the theory was, and this actually came from our boss, is to challenge one of the other agencies or whatever. But part of it is that Blessed Feeding South Dakota, they don't necessarily have the time for us to do what we want when we want to do it. I know, so crazy.
The shenanigans aren't always accepted.
You just don't want to drop at my every living whim. I don't understand. So it became more of a challenge. But I know I have friends in other agencies that will come to me and say, what groups do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
What fundraising are you doing at this time or whatever?
So you're inspiring other agencies to also get involved.
Yeah.
And even if not as a group, just individually coming in and volunteering. And you were talking earlier about, how you came in on your own, but also how you get to recognize people, you don't know them. And that happens even people who volunteer not in groups. We'll have retired individuals or people who just moved to town and they don't know anybody. And they come in because they want to get to know some people. And this is a really good way because it is a cooperative type of volunteer activity.
It's not an individual game. It does take it takes the whole line to do it. But even if there's 2 of us that would always do the end, because that's my favorite part is the loading of the boxes. Good for you. And nobody else likes to do
heavy.
it.
You get to the end and you gotta stack them just right.
It's a workout.
It is. And that's what I used it for.
All right.
So but myself and one other person, that would always be, if I saw her come in, oh, you can have it. Fine. I'll go do something else, whatever. But even to get to that end, I mean, I'm doing one thing. And if you're loading the boxes, you're putting your item in, you're doing one thing, but you're not, because you need to have that whole entire line. I need to have the taper understand that I need to change out pallets or whatever the story may be. That you can't just get up on the line and push the boxes because, well, I'm ready to go.
And it's quality control. I've noticed when I've been in a couple lines, you're putting yours in and you're like, oh, there's only 1 can of soup. We need another can of soup, so you gotta be a little tough, like to take that criticism. Okay. I was just trying to open up another thing of soup and I didn't get it because the box went, but yeah. And, I think too, one of the things we talked off camera a little bit about the team and how, we have only a certain number of evening shifts because, the team doesn't work every night. But what I love about these things is that also people who come in and volunteer get to know our team pretty well. So, you have a story.
So Lyle is amazing. Lyle, you are amazing.
Yes.
And you know that I love you. And I am the loudest person in the world. And so as my end boxer person, I laugh because I'm standing by a belt. So I'm telling you where we are down there. As the end boxer person, it became this thing that when the pallet was done, you would just hear me from the bottom of my toes yell, Lyle, and it didn't matter where he was. He's going to be able to hear me.
He's out running a forklift. And he hears
it. So we'd have new people come or whatever, and they'd hear me do this, and they're just like, oh my God, it's so rude. No, Lyle knows he can go continue his work. It'll be fine. She'll bellow. It'll happen or whatever.
But so true. I mean, that's a gift to him, I'm sure, because he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to
wait.
supervise us.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
I would say our group has gotten this down to a science.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
Everybody has their thing that they like to do.
Right.
Has that spot on the line that even like a new person comes in. Because I laughed when we first got people would go, Kari, what do you want me to do? I don't know. You're an adult. Pick a place. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
I'll get you here, but then it's
Then
on
it's
you
you're on your own. Yeah.
to do your own. But people have found their thing that they like to do or whatever. Like I said, our cabinet secretary, he loves to do the boxes. And that's actually my favorite too. If I can't do the boxes on the end, I'll sit there and break down boxes or whatever. That's just zen and relaxing for me.
Yes.
Other people like to sit there and load the boxes. That stresses me out. Don't want to do it. That you find your spot, you find your zen, you know who you want to be next to. We have one person, she happens to have MS, so but she still comes, and it will do her in by the end of the night.
Sure.
So her job has become the sticker. So she's at the front,
putting the sticker on the box.
sticking on all the boxes.
Yeah.
Or if we need to keep a count, she'll do the counting
count or whatever. So it doesn't matter. Like you don't have to be some big buff person to go do this, or you don't have to. I giggle. We have a very short group, so the boxes will get tall, and so we have quite a few people that have to go for a good stretch to get the box in.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's fun. Why
I know.
would you not want to
well,
come?
I'm not very tall, and when I help in a pack line, by the end of that shift, ooh, that shoulder's feeling it because I have to like reach so far in to get that. But I mean, I love that point that you make, that it doesn't matter what your ability is.
No.
There's something for everybody to do to help out and feel that sense of community and accomplishment.
Yes.
Yep.
So does your team ever talk about, sort of that takeaway for them, or have they ever run into people that, have know that they volunteer here and they are a recipient? Have they?
Well, like I said, we know recipients.
Oh, that's right. You did say
there's folks that, we know are benefiting directly.
Yep.
But in addition, at the end of the shift, we're always like, look what we did.
Yes.
And we've had conversations. Kari will send an email saying, you fed this many households last night.
Yeah.
And it feels great.
Yeah.
The other thing about Feeding South Dakota, so DOT does a ton of fundraising for charitable organizations. So we were being asked a lot to give money. Give money or give food or
personally,
give clothing.
Not as a department. Okay.
Yeah. But no, it would be a DOT fundraiser.
Sure.
But individuals, we would be contributing.
Open your pocketbook, whether it be
open
by
your
buying a food
pocketbook.
thing or
okay, gotcha.
or giving cash.
And Kari and I started talking about, wouldn't it be great to be able to give back to our communities, but not have to reach into our pocketbook? Because that's not always an option for everybody.
It's not.
And so Feeding South Dakota,
that's how this even the whole conversation got started.
It was an opportunity to do something for our community that didn't involve giving money or things, giving time instead. And for some people, that's what they have. They don't have those other things to donate, or they want to donate that too.
Well, we say that often, that there are, when somebody says, how can we support your organization? The dollar donation is helpful for the purchasing of the food, and we can stretch that dollar. But we also know some people can give time.
Yes.
And that's just as valuable to us. I think our, I hope I don't say this wrong, but I think our volunteer hours last fiscal year equated to about 26 full-time employees.
Wow.
And you think of that from a nonprofit organization standpoint, and our program usage just continues to rise every month. Yeah. And that means there's more boxes, there's more backpacks, there's more frozen, so much more is being packed to continue to meet that demand. And it's done by volunteers.
Yes.
And if we didn't have that support, we'd still be able to serve, but not to the level that we are serving. Because what that means is that our team is out in the communities.
Yep.
They're in the trucks driving, all the way to Lemon or Leola, or, they're getting out into those communities and delivering this food while the volunteers are back getting the packing done, right?
Well, and that reminds me, because you asked about, are you getting feedback about your impacts? So we have a couple of DOT employees who are retired, who, when we have a shift, I'll text them and say, hey, we're doing a shift if you guys want to come. And at least one of those retirees also goes to the distribution. So I remember one night we were working the line and she was talking about, you wouldn't believe how many people come on the day of distribution. And she was talking about what that was like and how grateful people are.
Yeah.
You know, they're really thankful for that food.
Absolutely. I mean, when I've been at distributions, we hear thank you so often. And some people it's just this month was hard. Like people feel like they have to justify it, which we don't.
Right.
If you need food, we're going to make sure you get food. I mean, that's our role in the state, but it does, feel nice. And I think for volunteers who are packing, you don't have that direct,
right.
So it's really great that they bring that back and share that with you because, saying how many families you helped feed is great. And, how many backpacks, how many children are going to have weekend food. And that's really great. But when you're looking somebody eye to eye and you're handing them food and you see that gratitude, it really is something different and something special. Yeah.
Well, we talked about food. So Karla and I do the banquet, which is another food opportunity here in Pierre.
Yep.
And that's one of our favorites is that we actually go cook the food or whatever that they're going to eat. And that to do that, you actually do get to see it or whatever, or the kid that just wants to eat the brownies. No, I need you to go eat the food first.
Yes. Then we'll
talk about the brownies after or whatever.
I like this kid.
Right. Oh, he was fun. But even with that, so DOT does Feeding South Dakota. Food hunger is something that we all think about because it stinks to be hungry. Even with that, I'm not sure. I know some of the other places in our state. So one of the things that we do at Christmas, Karla wasn't joking when she said that we do a lot of fundraising. I get an idea and this is how it happens. But so we're on our 5th one. So 4 years ago, we started the holiday smackdown, which right. So central office challenged the 4 regions. So the Aberdeen region, Sioux Falls, Mitchell region, the Pierre region, and then the Rapid City region to a collection. So we did food, that one, because you talk about those little communities, they all have pantries, and they all need to be filled.
Yes.
And so whoever wins the holiday smackdown gets to choose for the next year. All years have been food, every single one of them, because even our maintenance guys start to get competitive because it's their little community that they're going to go feed.
Sure, that's a great idea.
So we at central office have never won. We're going to here.
We are going to win, Kari.
You're too busy here volunteering.
Right. That's probably what it is.
I feel like there should be some like half-point credit or something.
Hey.
Like, I mean, it's not, you're kind of giving food. I don't know. Maybe I'm messing things up for you.
I like where you're
Sorry,
going
Aberdeen
with this.
and Mitchell. And
Aberdeen and Mitchell have kicked our bums. They're actually like, they throw down.
Yeah, they do.
To be fair, this is probably one of the only fundraising things that they do.
Well,
we do a few.
Yeah.
We learned about the governor's grocery.
The school pantry here in Pierre. I just wanted to give some context for our audience. I met with them a couple years ago for the first time, and such an incredible story of a woman who teaches there and her mom who started it.
Yep.
And it started as a backpack program.
Yep.
But then they took the old shop and cleaned it out and painted it and put shelving and racking in, and now it's a pantry. So they still have bags of food that kids can grab and go if they need to catch the bus. But kids can come and shop.
Yep.
And they'll be like, here, you can take 1 cereal, you can have 2 vegetables, 2 fruits.
Yep. And they have a very specific menu.
Yeah, they do. And they've got the food pyramid.
Yep.
It's not a free for all, but they also have hats and gloves, and they have,
wow.
The year I was there, somebody had donated a whole bunch of like Bath and Body Works lotions and sprays. And so the kids could each pick like one thing to take as a gift for their mom or their sister or their dad or things like that. So yes, they're doing incredible things there, and in such a great way that it brings dignity.
Yes.
That, kids can feel comfortable going there and loved and get their needs met. So I say that to give context.
Yes.
So.
Yep. So when you talk about Pierre and that they're giving back, so in that we've mentioned PARS.
Yes.
We've mentioned Feeding South Dakota, Governor's Groceries, the banquet.
Yes.
And we're a town of what, 14,000 people?
Mm-hmm.
And we have enough need in our little town
Yes.
in order that we need to have all of those
Mhm.
things, that I can't imagine Sioux Falls or Rapid City,
Yeah.
how much bigger it is from there. So if places like Feeding South Dakota, that gives you an opportunity to just go do what you need.
Right.
I don't need to make a big thing out of it. I need to go get what I need for my family,
Yeah.
for myself, for my whatever, and move on.
And one of the things that I have come to realize through these conversations is that we have about 263 partners, like the food pantries or the hot meal sites or the backpacks and things like that across the state. And what I've come to realize is that we have earned the reputation of being able to be trusted to do this work. And so those dollars that come in and those food drives that come in, even if it doesn't come directly to us, if it goes to a pantry in Aberdeen or wherever, they're a partner who's trusted to do the work. And I think that comes from seeing impact. And as hard as it is that food insecurity numbers continue to rise, that measurement continues to rise, I think it's also just so great that we can still meet that demand.
Yes.
We can still get the food out there. And there may come a day where that's a challenge. But right now, we're still able to get about 50 to 55 pounds of food in the hands of families once a month.
Right.
And it's not enough to feed them for a month. But to your point, it's enough to put together a meal. If they've got some SNAP benefits, they can just add a couple things or, something to sustain.
Well, and to take the benefit of the food and to know that it's not fixing your problem.
Right.
It's helping you help yourself while you find the way to put things together. So to really to look at the box and make it a game with your kids, make it a game with your spouse, with your kid. Like if your grandma's doing it, that you're going to go help your grandma and go, all right, Grandma, what do we got in this one? We could make this, we can make that. We could, and it also being that you don't get the same thing every time. It also gives you the opportunity to try new foods.
Try new things. Yeah. I met the sweetest boy in Clark, South Dakota, who was so excited the day I was there that there was pancake mix in the box. But he was really disappointed there weren't bananas because he likes to mash the bananas and mix them in with his pancakes when he makes them. And so to your point, like we have to bring these healthy foods back into diets because the chronic disease is so rampant. And, so engaging that younger generation in those things. And we, sometimes get creative things like fresh pineapples or plums or, but, we get a lot of apples and oranges and that kind of stuff. But it's always fun to be able to put that in and elevate that. Because we know people aren't purchasing that. When your budget gets tight,
fresh goes out.
Fresh produce
absolutely
goes.
And canned is good, but it's not best.
Right.
So, yeah. And again, I just come back to you said earlier, like it used to be a lot of canned food. And I think it used to be not even like that balanced food or that our food sourcing team, which is only about 3 or 4 years old, works on that menu and works on that inventory to say, what can we put together?
Yeah.
And while every box in the month of April is not exactly the same for every person in the state, it's going to be very similar.
Right.
It's going to have that mix of non-perishable and frozen or refrigerated and some fresh. And so that's a good opportunity. I remember one time I was at a distribution and I said, it looks to me like you've got enough in here to make chicken noodle soup. So how great. There was celery, I think, that month. And there were some egg noodles in there. So
it's to be fair, not everybody's cook. If you'd asked me when I was in my 20s, I wouldn't have known what to do. If you give me a box of miscellaneous things, and as you learn and grow, I'm one that has a delightful diet filled with all sorts of allergies and things of that sort that I've had to learn how to readjust and to recook things and try things so that I sneak them past my dad, that he doesn't know that I just fed him healthy things because he's the meat and potato guy, But if you make I think like when I talk to kids or when I've worked with kids in the past, that we would do snacks and we would do things, and it's going to be, what new thing can I do to introduce you to a new food? Or maybe you'll hate it, but at least you tried it, or maybe you'll love it and you had no idea. Especially when it comes to fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. They're scary, even to adults.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I have to sneak things past my dad. I've gotten my mom to stop announcing what we're having for dinner so that we can just see if he'll eat it first and then tell me if he likes it or doesn't like it. Because we eat with our eyes first.
Yeah.
when you see the weird things, just embrace it.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah. So you need to be like at the end of the line for every mobile distribution.
Telling them what they're gonna.
Can we shift your volunteer duty from here in the distribution center to at the mobile, explaining that?
There we go. Will you just give me a box? I'll just sit there and do a cooking demonstration for all of
Oh
them.
my
with
gosh,
what's in
I
the
love
box.
this. Careful, we
you.
might tap on your shoulder. I think she'd do it.
I'd be in heaven.
But I'm Carrie's official sous chef.
Yeah.
So
So
when
we'll
we
be there
you'd come
together.
together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when
You'd
we
have to
cook
wear
at
the
the
hats.
banquet, yeah.
There might be a spreadsheet that comes with the
Oh,
banquet.
boy.
But we get snacks and there's a break ripped in there.
She once had me cracking 500 eggs. I cracked.
I'm
How
sorry.
many potatoes did I peel that
60
one time?
pounds last
I don't know how long ago that was, but that could today it'd be a lot of money that you were cracking into that
Right?
bowl.
The first time that we did the banquet, we did breakfast. And for all of those of you who get breakfast in your box, breakfast can be eaten for dinner.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It is not.
I just did it 2 nights ago.
Right.
Mhm.
Pancakes and bacon and
I
hash
love
browns.
pancakes and bacon.
So we made scrambled eggs, which you can apparently do in a roaster pot if you just have faith. It just turns
You
1
can.
minute. You can. And so we bought eggs, and Karla did. And she cracked them, and I had a little 5-gallon bucket that I was doing the mixture in. There, and we have a picture of it or whatever. That the next time we did
shepherd's pie.
shepherd's pie. So we had to make mashed potatoes. We're not buying instant. We're making real ones. I mean, this was
All the
Yeah.
way.
Yep,
yes.
all the way. We did not
I
want any
would-
processed food.
I was buying, like, beef would go on sale. How many can I buy? Cool. Like, my freezer's filled
What
with
if I
beef.
told you it's for the banquet? Can I buy more?
Right. And that did happen.
And they did the first
Wasn't
one.
Dakota Mart?
Yep, Dakota
Yep.
Mart
Or
was
how
the
many
one.
times, like if I go out and put a pair of sunglasses
Right,
on and
how many more
a
times can I do
sweatshirt,
it?
or even recognize me?
But and they worked it out like perfect. It was and we actually did shepherd's pie on Pie Day, and neither one of us realized it
Yeah.
until somebody goes, "Oh, did you do this for Pie Day?" I'm like, "What?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, we did.
What is Pie Day?
Yes.
Congratulations!" But when it comes to food, you really do just mix things together.
Yeah.
Like it's not an exact science, and so please, folks, when you get
Just
your
give it a
box,
try.
just give it a go.
Well,
If not, I'll be there.
I
Karla and
don't
will
know
be
how
there.
you girls that you're so involved in the community and clearly have a passion for
Yes.
feeding people, and that's appreciated. And you're seeing it from the start of packing boxes through the serving of it on the table through the banquet, and so that's really appreciated. If you were to give advice to somebody who's maybe watching this and has thought about volunteering but wasn't sure, or maybe thinks this might be a good thing for their team to come and do, what would you tell them?
Do it.
I think if you want to enhance teamwork and increase employee engagement, doing something like Feeding South Dakota is a great way to do it. You know, people will feel good about your organization because they'll feel like I work for someplace that cares about people
Mm.
and you know, that cares about me because
Mhm.
they want to offer these opportunities to me as an employee, and they want to build a team, and they want us to get to know each other. You know, I just think there's lots of benefits for employers who embrace Feeding South Dakota
Yeah.
as a volunteer opportunity for their employees.
It's more than just the 8 to 5. What comes
Absolutely.
the productivity from 8 to 5.
Absolutely.
That's a really beautiful way
And
to
feeling
look at it.
good about where you work and the people you
Mhm.
work with.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I like that I've gotten to know so many other people, and
Mhm.
and you do the side conversations you have lead to the other thing that one of the people. I'm a traveler, she's a traveler. So as soon as we get here, the first thing is, where are you going next?
Sure.
And then we spend half the time discussing whatever
Yeah.
we just did and
Mhm.
wherever
Yeah.
we're going. Otherwise, I don't see her. She's in the
Mhm.
same building, but she's down a floor, and I don't go down there. She doesn't come up. So,
Sure.
once in a blue moon. But if you have a group, do it. I mean, it's not in, you can go online and book a group that way. You can create a team, just have a team captain
Right.
that's putting it together. As the team captain, you don't have to go every time. Your job is basically to just get the people there. The staff here are amazing. That they
I know you like Lyle. We've heard that. I'll make sure Lyle gets that shout out.
Lyle rules. But
We'll have to put a picture of Lyle up
Right.
so everybody can
Lyle
recognize
is
him.
amazing.
So if you see him in the community, you can
Yes.
say, "You're Lyle."
Oh, Lyle
That's
loves
funny.
when he sees me at Walmart. Hi, Lyle. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's that loud one.
There she is. I recognize that, Lyle.
Yeah. But and that's the nice part too, is as a newbie to town, this is how, like, it's taken 6 years before I start to really recognize people in town or be recognized in town or whatever. So yeah, and now I have to not look crazy when I go to the store on the weekends, but that I can run into him, and it's that same, not just the people that I work with, but people out in the community. But as far as a group goes, you can do it. Jennifer, who is the volunteer coordinator, she can help you with the groups and all of that. Easy to get a hold of at Feeding South Dakota. But even if you just get a group of like a few people, all it takes is those
your
few
neighbors
people
or
to
your
have
kids
fun,
on a no school day, or
to have some fun and talk it up. And you will get people who want to come and want to come and want to come, and that group will grow. And then, like this year, we have chosen to do the first Tuesday of every even month.
Okay, the 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I've learned with my group, if I give them here's the day, mark your calendars now, that works not as well as when I spring it on them. But it then we know what day it's coming up or whatever. And people will ask me, is it a Feeding South Dakota month?
Sure.
Nope. There's a calendar that hangs outside our office or
Take
whatever.
a look.
It's right there.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you what it is.
I want to say though, there have been a few times where there's been an emergency call out by Feeding South Dakota to your department.
We did that in December.
Where there's something that, like, we might have produce come in that needs a fast turnaround, or we might be short a few boxes.
So our December time that we were supposed to, in 2024, we had a date and then it didn't get on the calendar. And I was like, that's fine. It's in the middle of Christmas. We'll
Everybody's
just let it
busy.
go. Right. So Jennifer called me that morning and said, Kari, I don't see it on the calendar, but I have you on my list. Is today a day that you're coming? I was like, it was a snowing day. Like it was like the world's worst day.
Nobody's going to want to come.
Right. And she's like, can you just do me a favor, throw it out there.
Try.
See if by noon we'll call it if nobody says it.
Yeah.
In a half hour, I had the shift filled.
Wow.
It was just people are like, oh, okay, all right.
And I think that, people realize that there are so many people in the communities that count on this.
Yes.
And that if the work doesn't get done, that's a challenge for people.
Yes.
And they don't want that to be the case, especially around the holidays.
And it's fun. So really, yes, we're giving, but we're taking a lot here. We're having some fun while we do this. If it wasn't fun, it wouldn't matter how good you felt. If you weren't getting something out of it, you wouldn't get the group to do it. To know that I could literally go, guys, I know it's snowing, emergency, need boxes. What do you think? And to know that it took a half hour of just emails shooting in. So unless somebody was staring at their email, it might have taken them 10 minutes to look at it or whatever, that they don't see my emails and cry.
Delete.
She's at it again. But it was such a warm fuzzy for me to just know that we have that core group of people that even whether it's that this is something that we like to do, this is something that we have fun doing. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't have anything tonight. Let's do it.
Well, and even if you're not part of a group, because I started at Feeding South Dakota as an individual.
Yeah.
And I was just looking for something that I could give back to my community. And, Kari and I, feeding people is important to us. We're both cooks, bakers. We like food. So that was important to me. And so even as an individual, I came here, I didn't know anybody, and I started volunteering. And I was just so impressed with how hard people worked. And at the end of the shift, knowing how many boxes we'd packed, how many people we were going to feed, it was just a good feeling. And because of that, that's when I approached Kari about, hey, we should do this as a DOT thing. So you don't have to be part of a group in order to come here and have a good experience, meet other people, and do something good for your community.
She actually got me to come as an individual before we started doing the groups. That's
Had to
how
come
I knew
check
it was.
out.
Well, she asked if I
some
wanted
recon.
to do it one time, and I was like, all right. So I came and did it, and then it was, now I know what it is.
I'm so glad it wasn't the day that we had the rotten sweet potatoes. I'm just kidding.
Oh no, I've done the onions.
I was gonna say,
I've done the onions.
I'm kidding, but there are some hard
We've done the fresh produce sorting, yes.
Well, we're very appreciative of your that you found us, that you took the initiative to bring your team in, and that you continue to come. And so I feel very comfortable saying on behalf of our whole team and the people that we serve, thank you for your commitment to our organization. Well,
it's awesome.
Well, I have one tough question before we go. So if South Dakota were a fruit or a vegetable, what would it be and why?
I've answered this question for you before,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll let you take it.
The first thing that came into my mind was corn, just because I have friends that raise corn, and so
It just seems
that's
like the
what I
right
think
thing.
of. Yeah,
Not that we're corny people.
no,
No, we
But-
are
well,
corny
we kind
people.
of are, but
You're not the first one to say that, and I bet you won't be the last. So
Probably not.
you're on a good track there.
Mine is always an onion,
Yeah.
because the state of South Dakota is, let alone Pierre, the whole state of South Dakota isn't, it may be one state, but it is 3 different regions with
Mhm.
3 different groups of people. And really, I can go 4, because those people up northern state, that's just cold up there. I don't know what they're thinking. But we have every demographic, we have every landscape, we have everything. So to me, it's just
All
it's
the
an onion.
layers.
We got lots and lots of different things,
Yeah.
like you would find in an onion.
Good assimilations. And that answer was also given by
By Corwin.
Corwin here in Pars, or Pars. So it must be like a very common,
Corwin
what
and I
is
were
it? I
tight.
think he brought in Shrek.
Yep.
Ogres are like onions. They have many layers.
Yes.
I was like, oh boy, Corwin. He's kind of a movie buff, so I wasn't keeping up with him a whole lot in that conversation. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for joining us in this conversation. I hope you had a great time learning about how the South Dakota Department of Transportation came to volunteering here at the Pierre Distribution Center and becoming a team that not only does Feeding South Dakota really rely on, but also the people facing hunger who are receiving food through our programs. We hope you continue to join us for these conversations. And if you're interested in volunteering, you can head to our website, feedingsouthdakota.org, and see what opportunities are near you. Have a great day.